Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to dive into a topic that I think we all can relate to, deciding which stocks to sell when you need some cash. But first, let me tell you a story about a friend of mine from 10 years ago. Let's call him Alejandro. About 10 years ago, Alejandro was about to buy his first apartment and he needed money to pay for the down payment. He had to sell some of his stocks to get that cash. Now he had 6 stocks in his portfolio. 3 were in the green, showing some nice gains. The other 3, well, let's just say that they were having a rough time. So what did Alejandro do? He sold the 3 winners. Makes sense, right? Take the profit and run. Plot twist. Those 3 winners were Microsoft, Tesla, and Amazon. I'll let that sink in for a second. If you have not been following these stocks, these winners skyrocketed in value over the next decade. The 3 losers he kept, one of them was GE. And let's just say it and its buddies didn't exactly set the world on fire in the past decade either. If he had sold those losers instead, he could have ended up with enough money to buy 2 apartments instead of just 1. Ouch, right? But don't worry. Alejandro's mistake is our learning opportunity. So here's the million-dollar question. When you need cash, which stocks should you sell? Do you take profits on your winners or cut your losses on the underperformers? It's not as straightforward as you might think, and that's exactly what we're going to break down today. Now, I've got a bit of a quirky way of looking at my portfolio. I like to think of the companies I invest in as my employees. Weird, I know, but hear me out. When I first add a stock to my portfolio, it's like putting a new hire through probation period. I'm getting to know it, seeing how it performs, and figuring out if it's a good fit for my team. At the end of each year, I do an annual review. Just like in a real job, the top performers might get a bonus, which means I would buy more of their shares, while the underperformers, well, they might get laid off, which means I would sell them. But here's where it gets interesting. Like in a real job, if someone has a good reason for underperforming, such as their grandmother died or they recently broke up from a long-term relationship, I give them a little bit more room to bounce back. It's not fair to judge them under these circumstances. In the stock world, this could be an event that's beyond a company's control, like COVID-19 or other major disruptions. You've got to factor in these life events for your stocks too. When I need to sell for cash, I use a similar approach. I start by looking at the underperformers. Which ones aren't really pulling their weight? Which ones have changed so much that they no longer fit my investment strategy? But it's not just about performance. There are other things to consider as well. First off, let's talk about performance. Sometimes your stocks may have a strong recent performance, but you expect that trend won't last. I usually hesitate to sell my winners, but there are times when it makes sense. For instance, if a stock has shot up 10 times, like we've seen with companies like Tesla and Nvidia in recent years, it can start to dominate your portfolio. In those cases, selling a bit can help balance things out, especially depending on your risk tolerance. While I believe winners will continue to win, sometimes due to the nature of their size, they no longer can grow as fast as when they were smaller. Then there are tax implications. Selling stocks that are losing can help you harvest tax losses to offset any capital gains you've recognized during the year. It's like finding a silver lining in those red numbers. Next up is portfolio balance. It's crucial to review the risk profile of your portfolio regularly. Sometimes you'll find you've got stocks with too much overlap, exposing you to the same industry risks. By selling off some of these similar stocks, you can make your portfolio more diversified and hopefully more resilient. And finally, think about the fundamentals. Have the fundamentals of the business changed since you bought the stock? Sometimes the thesis you had when you first bought the stock no longer holds true, and it might be the time to move on. So those are some of the things I consider when deciding which stocks to sell. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever had to sell stocks in a pinch? What were your experiences? Did you end up regretting any decisions? Drop your memorable stories in the comment below. And as always, if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more finance tips. Before we wrap up, here's a quick disclaimer. Please note that I may have positions in the stocks discussed in this video. Do not buy or sell any securities based solely on what you hear in this video. Always do your own research or consult talk with a professional before making any investment decisions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.